Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be solving the Leet code question, sum of mutated array closest to target, and this is Leet code question 1300. Alright, so let's just go over the question real quick. I know the question itself is a little confusing, but then after this I'm going to break it down and make it a lot easier to understand. Alright, so given an integer array and a target value target, return the integer value such that when we change all the integers larger than the value in the given array to be equal to value, the sum of the array gets as close as possible to the target. So in case of a tie, we return the minimum of such integer, and notice that the answer is not necessarily a number from an array. So what does this actually mean? So to better understand, let's just look at this example real quickly. So we're given this array 4, 9, 3. And the target we have is 10. So that means that whatever the stuff over here, whatever elements we have over here have to add up to be equal to 10 or as close as possible. Now in this case, our output is 3. So what does the output actually mean? So that means that everything which is greater than the output is going to change its value to the value of the output. So over here we have the number 4, and the output over here we got is 3. Anything greater than the number 3 is going to change to have a value of 3. So 4 is going to change to have a value of 3. 9 is also going to change to have a value of 3. But 3 is going to stay the same because it doesn't matter. 3 is equal to 3. So now when we add our new array, which is just consistent of 3's, so we're going to get 3 plus 3 plus 3, and that equals to 9. And that's the closest we can get by adding integers to our target. So let's just look at another example and then I'll break it down for you. So we have this array over here, 2, 3, 5, and our target is 10. So now let's add this one. So we get 2 plus 3 plus 5. So that's nothing else but 10. So as it is, our array equals to the target. So we don't really need to change anything. So in that case, we just gave an output of 5. So that means anything greater than 5 is going to have a value of 5. But in our array, we have nothing greater than 5. So everything just holds the same value, and we have the same value as our target. So now let's see how can we actually achieve that value and get close to the target. So let's say in our question, we're given this array over here, 5, 2, 3, and our target that we need to reach is 10. So what we're going to do, our first step is going to be to sort the array in ascending order. So from smallest to highest. So we're going to do that real quick. So we're going to get 2, 3, 5. So now that we have this, it's going to make it a lot easier for us to actually find out the answer. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the length of the array. So what is the length of our array? So 1, 2, 3. We have a length of 3. And our target is 10. Now we need to come up with a number which, when repeated, gives us a value closest to 10. So how can we come up with that number? And coming up with that number is nothing else but doing target and dividing that by the length of our array. So in this case, our length is 3 and our target is 10. So we're going to do 10 by 3 and we're going to round it. So we're actually going to get 3.33, but when you round it, we're going to round it down, so we're just going to get a value of 3. So what does this 3 actually mean? In other words, it just means that if we have this array, 3, 3, 3, this is going to be our most ideal case and where our numbers are repeated. So this is the closest we can get to 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to look to see if the first element over here has the value of 3 or it's greater than 3. But in this case, we have 2. 2 is not greater than 3, neither is it equal to 3. So now what we're going to do is we're going to ignore the 2 and we're going to move on to the next element. So in this case, we're going to go to the 3. And we're still not going to look for the same element. So now what we're going to do is we're going to account for the 2 in our target. So now our target, it was 10. But now we're going to account for the 2. So all we're going to do is we're going to subtract it by that element. So we're going to do 10 minus 2. So the target changes. And now we're not going to look for a length of 3. We're going to just look at the remaining length. So before it was 3, now we need to just look at this and this. So our length is going to decrease by 1. So it's going to be what our original length was, minus 1. And now this gives us a value of 8 by 2, which is nothing else but 4. So this means that we need to reach the number 8. And the most optimal way to get that is so that our next two numbers are equal to 4. So 2, 4, 4. Now we're going to check if the element is equal to 4 or greater than 4. So 3 is neither equal to or greater than 4. So in that case, we're going to ignore this as well. And now we're going to iterate through the next number. So now for the last time, we need to change our target again. So we had 10 originally. Now we need to account for 2, and we also need to account for 3. So now our target changes to whatever that value is. And now we need to change our length again. So our length changed to 2, and now we need to do 2 minus 1. Okay, so now this is equal to 10 minus 2, 8, 8 minus 3, 5 divided by 1, which is nothing else but 5. So now in this case, we're looking for the value 5. So we have 2, we have 3, and now we need to now our most optimal solution is 5. So now we're going to see if our last element is equal to or greater than 5. And luckily, this element is equal to 5. And when something is equal to or greater than what our optimal solution is, we're going to just return the optimal solution. So in this case, we're going to return the value 5. And that's going to be our answer. So now let's see how we can implement this using code. So as usual, I'm going to be using Python 3 in order to implement this. Okay, so our first step is to sort the array. So we're just going to do array.sort. And that should sort it for us in ascending order. Now we're going to create a variable called length, which is going to store the length of our array. So length of array. So this holds the length of our array. Now we're going to iterate through all the elements inside of the array. So for x in range, the length. So this is the length. So we're going to iterate through everything inside of the array. So now we're going to have a variable called our solution. And so this is basically our most optimal solution, right? And to get that, we need to take the target and we need to divide that by our length. And make sure we also need to round this value because we only need integers. And after we have this, we need to check if the element in the array is equal to or greater than the solution. So if array x is greater than or equal to solution, in that case, we're just going to return our solution and we'll be done. But if that's not the case, we need to alter our target. So target minus equals, we're going to subtract it by the current element we're on. And we also need to decrease the length by 1. So now we're going to decrease the length by 1, and we're also going to change the target. And now after we do this, and let's say after all these iterations in our for loop, we still do not get the answer, then in that case, we're just going to return the biggest number inside of our array. So that's just going to be the last number because we sorted it. So we're just going to return array and the last element. So array -1 is going to return the last element. So I'm going to submit this and let's see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, our solution did get accepted. And finally, do let me know if you have a better solution in mind or if you have any questions regarding this. And thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.